Welcome back to Ashes to Apex. My name is Joshua Belland, and I will be your host today. And today we have a very special guest, Joe Orsak.
Hey,
Hey, Joe. How you been today, man? And it's good to see you.
likewise. Yeah, been too long.
Yeah. I mean, we've been, working together for, I don't know,
Really long
a
time.
long time. We've been friends for even longer, right?
Yeah.
So, you've always inspired my entrepreneurial journey because I've seen you from the time I first met you. That's all you've done.
Yeah.
First of all, yeah, and you're definitely a character, and I've enjoyed watching that journey. But I'm gonna go ahead and introduce you, Joe Orsak, entrepreneur, author, I would say producer, and
So I had lots of that.
and a worship leader.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all of these are important aspects of our identity, right? So tell us a little bit about what you're currently doing in your where you're at in your entrepreneurial journey. Lay that foundation for us.
Yep. Currently president CEO of 24/7 Security Investigations. The company was formed in 1999, and incorporated in 2000. But I have a nice tagline rhyme with 1999, so I have to use it. So, on-site peace of mind since 1999.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, and so that's my current gig. And been fortunate to through that build to a place where I have time to do things like write, and so I've currently been working on what started out as a single book. Now it's like 5 books. I've got 1 done and 2 is heavily underway. It just keeps like expanding story wise. So it's kind of weird. But anyway, and leading the worship at our church, as you mentioned, that's a really big deal for me. And new church new church building that we're going to be in a year from now. That's going to be a big step forward for us. So I'm really excited about that.
Fantastic.
And then, husband, father, 32 years, same gal. So that's worth a little side note.
Absolutely. Yeah. Husband, father, and a good one at that. Yeah. So why don't you tell us how exactly? Maybe tell us a story about how you got into the security business.
Gotcha. Yeah, as you've mentioned, I've been an entrepreneur all my life. I've definitely had that gene or bug or whatever you want to call it, started my first business when I was 10, and had my first employee when I was 13. So it's a lifelong entrepreneur. And I guess maybe kind of got that from my mom. She definitely had the entrepreneurial spirit. And she was in business most of her life. So I would definitely say I had some of that modeled from her for sure. And she started the security business, as a side business, an ancillary business to her bail bond business, which was her primary business. And she was in the bonding industry here in Houston, Texas for 40 years. So she did well, and she survived and kept the doors open, which is a crazy accomplishment in and of itself. But she passed away in 2018, and at 83, nice, long, full, ripe life. Worked up until the day she died, and she died on Labor Day, which I think was part of my mom's sense of humor. So in 2018, when she passed away, I was in the process of building a life insurance business, and I was doing okay with it, but it was just me, and still had another business that 2 partners were involved in, and they were doing that you're familiar with. That's where we're at.
Yeah, I was gonna go touch back on that.
Yeah, Improve My Credit USA.
Yep.
And so when my mom passed away, she had 2 employees in the bail bond business, and she had 13 guards that were working for her in the security business. And so I felt some obligation to take over the business to make sure it kept running and that sort of thing. My brother, much younger brother, was involved in the bail line business, so he kind of took that over. I took over the security business, and it was running at the time that I took it over. Literally 2 weeks after I took it over, one of the largest clients that we had, like, ended their contract for no bad reason. It was just it was coming to an end, and so at that point the company was running a negative $200 a month. So that's where it started in 2018. So that's kind of what brought me up to, being in charge of the company and doing my thing with the security business.
Very cool. And you mentioned Improve My Credit USA. We'll definitely touch on that a little bit because I know that's a big part of your story. And so you said that you started your first business at 10. It's kind of in your blood. Let me ask you, what was the first business that you really felt like was successful? Like I'm sure you tried 100 different things.
Yeah.
Leading up to that, but
Probably the first business that was successful, I fed the family, bought a house, all that kind of sort of thing, was the computer guys, TCG, the computer guys. And I did that for 15 years. So it paid the bills. I never got rich or anything off of it by any means. But it grew into a stable and healthy income, and we did well. We did okay with it, and had a couple different business partners with it, and a couple employees, and that sort of thing, and managed IT around the city of Houston, like I said, for 15 years. And I just kind of got burnt out on it, and all these along the way learned lessons that moved me into the next business. So sometimes out of necessity, that's just pure survival. And we can talk about that stuff too. There's some valuable lessons in there. And then even, up through current businesses with Improve My Credit USA. That was my first multi-million-dollar business. And really kind of getting to the point, even with that one, not to where I could step away and let the business run. That's for me is the real measure of success in a business, because I think a lot of times, when I say we, including me in this, and so this isn't just some cute way to say everybody else. I'm really speaking about me. We build a job when we build a business, and so we confuse the idea of building a business with just building another flavor of a job. Because until you can step away from it and enjoy free time and that sort of thing, you really haven't built a business.
Right. Yeah. You're just self-employed, right?
Yeah.
I remember in B&I, that was one of the points that you'd made while you were just standing up. And anyway, that's a lesson you've been teaching for a long time.
It is, actually.
Yeah. One that I remembered.
God,
Yeah.
glad somebody heard something.
Yeah, right.
Cool.
So we were talking a little bit about sometimes you were pushed into other businesses out of sheer survival. I'm guessing over the last however many years. All right, I'm not going to age you here.
Yeah, I'm old. It's okay.
However many years. You
experienced or earned.
Yeah, so you've experienced a few moments of crisis.
Sure.
And that's what we're really going to dig into. Well, I've seen you enter and exit several successful businesses. I know that there's a story between those exits and those entrances, and I know that it wasn't all, it wasn't all rainbows, ponies.
No.
Yeah, so
No.
So let's dig into that a little bit. Like maybe you can I don't want to choose any particular business, so I'll let you choose, right? So maybe talk a little bit about a moment of crisis that you and what you had to do to overcome that.
Yeah. And it's something I want to clarify too is uh, in having multiple different businesses over the course of my life. It's from an outside perspective, and it's a valid perspective to question or ask in moving in and out of businesses. Um, People are like, oh, well, are you just not successful, right? And that's why you jump in and out of businesses, because I've seen that as well myself and people, stability. Most of my businesses, everything I've been involved in was, like a decade. So I'm just old. That's the first thing is like, you've done a lot of stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'm old. I've been around for a long time and I don't sit still. So that's another thing. If you spent 5 minutes with me, you figure out like I gave up sleep years ago.
I've also known you for quite a long time, so
Yeah.
that's why I've seen a couple.
Yeah.
It's
For me, my life is, whether it's by force sometimes or by choice, which has been a couple times where like the computer business by choice, after 15 years in the industry, I exited. Um, and much to my wife's chagrin, it's like we get to a point where everything's stable and paying bills. She went through all those years of struggle and suffering, standing next to me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm getting out of the IT business. And she's like, what? Why? We just got to a place where life is normal. I'm like, yeah, normal's overrated. Off I go to the next thing. But no, the underlying principle there, which I is really important for me. One of the messages that I wanted to convey, not just on the show, but in life, and I know you'll have hopefully heard me say this, is the why behind your doing everything. Simon Sinek, start with why, right?
mm-hmm.
Um, so in all of my business efforts, my goal has always been to kind of push more to my why and what drives me and what motivates me and what I feel God has called me to in life and that sort of thing, and dial more into that because in that place is fulfillment, and there's a reason why Simon Sinek and like I've talked to you a lot about E-Myth and the business coaching and stuff. All of the coaches that I've ever experienced in life always start with the why's part, like what excites you, what drives you, what motivates you, what you're passionate about. And the lesson I've tried to teach or impart to my kids, that in being an entrepreneur, a lot of people look at the symptoms of being an entrepreneur and they're like, oh, I love that, right? Like who doesn't want to I'm gonna float around on my yacht and sip Mai Tais with the little umbrella or whatever it is that people like. I don't know. I've never even had a Mai Tai, I don't think, but I just don't know why I said that, but whatever, everybody is in love with that idea, but the struggle part of getting there is what kills, most people.
100%.
So you have to have that why. You have to have that part that drives you and connects you. So, the thing that I've told my kids with being an entrepreneur is that you find a problem that you just can't not solve, that you're just passionate about. I got to fix that. And if you don't have that, then you probably shouldn't be in business. Like, get out now, because it's way too much risk. You can destroy your life and your family's life, and all that stuff. So anyway, I've rambled a whole lot before I got to answering your question.
No, that's amazing. In fact, I want to talk more about the why.
All right.
So when you talk about your why, right? Start with why. Let's lean into that just a little bit more and explain. Let's talk about your story a little bit. Okay. What personally, give me a scenario where you felt your why was taking you in a different direction. Right.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right. So let's say just like the IT business. I mean, you just got to a place of stability, and your wife is happy and she's feeling more comfortable and being in a comfortable place. By the way, same here. I mean, I deal with this. My wife goes through the same thing.
Yeah.
She deals with our lives. My wife deals with my panic attacks when I have them. Um, which you know, she deals with the all of the stuff. You know, all the worries, the fears, and I tried my best to try to conceal that kind of stuff from her, but it slips out. It's hard sometimes, you know.
Yep.
So when you got to a point where you're like, okay, I've got to make a move. I got to like, can you just give us a specific scenario?
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely can. You know, with the IT business, for example, that was the first point or the first business that I'd made where I got to the point that it's providing, and you know, it's paying the bills. We're stable. Life is good. You know, um, not getting rich. You know, but life is good. Um, but I realized learning more about myself and my growth in God and all that sort of thing, and learning what He had uh, gifted me with talent wise and that sort of thing. And I came to realize that I have a natural inclination towards teaching, and that was a spiritual gift,
Mm-hmm.
and that my business did not align me at all with teaching.
Mm.
Right? I was solving problems and I was helping people have a stable business, protecting that business through security, cybersecurity and that sort of thing, which resonates with me, which is what, you know, I'm in security now, ironic. Um, but I would go in and solve problems, and there was things that aligned with me, but there was never any kind of teaching. The client didn't care at all about, you know, why this happened or whatever, only on a superficial level, right? And even in that business model, if I taught them all this stuff, which they did want to know anyway, if I taught them, I would be teaching myself out of a job, right? Right?
Yep.
I wouldn't have a client,
And they don't care.
and they don't care. Exactly. You're enough in the I can't you know, right? It's exactly right.
Yeah.
So it just didn't align with what God had called me to in life.
Mm.
And consequently, every day became more and more of a grind,
Mm.
and wore down the passion level to build the business.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's, you know, because I know that pain in life, why I'm so passionate about teaching that and sharing that up front for people who are looking at going into business. It's like, you know, you don't know what you don't know. And so we talked about it off camera before, that the people confuse the ability to make the widget with running a business that makes a widget. And the two have nothing to do with each other, very little to do with each other. Understanding how the widget's made is helpful at times, but I would say the more you know about making the widget, the greater chance you have of failure in running a business that makes the widget, because you're super prone to pulling out of the people's hands the task that you've given them to make the widget because you're the expert. So nobody will make the widget as good as you. You've got to run over there and snatch it out of your first employee's hand. It's like, you don't know what you're doing. Let me show you how to be, you know, off you go. Meanwhile, you should then focus on accounting, marketing, you know, vision, leadership, et cetera, et cetera. But you're over here being passionate about taking that widget out of his hand and showing him how to make it. So, you know, the business fails.
How would you say that when running a business and that makes widgets, what's more important, getting the widget to market fast or getting it perfect?
Well, between the two, fast is going to win almost every time, which is kind of sad, but that's, you know, that is the state of the case. The history is littered with companies that made a better widget who got beat out. You know, go all the way back to Beta and, you know, versus VHS. beta was better, they lost. There's all these reasons. But I mean, I would say there's whole businesses. What's the thing? You can have it good, you can have it fast, or you can have it cheap, right? But you'll never get all three, right? You can only have two. So every business is built basically around that idea.
Yep.
You can have high quality, and if you have it fast, it's going to be really expensive. You can have high quality, it's cheap, but you're not going to have it fast.
Right.
You know? So it's every industry is like built around those things. Maybe there's exceptions out there. I'm sure there probably is somewhere, but I don't know any. So
yeah. Yep. Interesting. Well,
I meander all over the place. I think you asked me a question. I don't know I've answered a question yet.
Oh, it's all perfect. It's perfect. It's a conversation, but I'm just, I love your explanation of not building, of not being the guy that builds the widget, right? Because at the end of the day,
that's a critical one, honestly.
The more you let go, you have to trust your team. Number one, you have to let them make mistakes. Number two, right? And these are important lessons in leadership.
Yeah,
right. You have to. People learn from their mistakes. They're more likely going to learn from their mistakes than what you're necessarily teaching them on the first go, right? So it's going to stick more when they make those mistakes. It's just important that we are there to help them.
Yeah.
Now, getting into more of your, so like, what moment did you feel, and it could be any moment with any of your businesses, but what was a moment, a time when you felt like the world was crushing you?
Whew.
And you,
how many times?
I mean, just any moment, any time where you had to work through it, and like, just what sticks out to you the most?
Well, and a lot of these ideas are interconnected, that we've already been touching on. The why it's so important to start with the why connects to this. When my mom passed away, 2018, I had a series of things that were just really, really happy to deal with. Deaths and a number of things that just got to the point where it was just, like I said, crushing. We're just like questioning everything about life. Like, clearly I am not on the right path, that type of thing. But, when my mom passed away in 2018, took over the business, I'd built more than one successful business. Take over the business in 2018, start setting out to, build a business, take it from 13 guards in 2018 to 33 guards by the end of 2019. We went from 2018, the business had never billed more than $150,000 a year. We billed by the close of 2019 right at $500,000. And then going into 2020, everybody knows 2020. COVID. And we went from 33 guards to 6 guards in 3 months. And that was traumatic.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you can imagine the numbers, but, 13, the business was running negative $200 a month, and now we have 6. Yeah, so that was intense. I was in a really intense period of time.
Did you feel like at any point giving up on it?
No, honestly. I'm trying to really dwell on that question. I don't think so.
Yeah. You were locked in though. You had to.
And identifying. That's why I start with why. All that stuff matters. Why are you doing what you're doing? And if you don't really have a solid answer to that,
what was your why?
Yeah. Well,
in this scenario? Like what? I mean, you said teaching, so
Yeah, so that's a crazy thing, right? Teaching for something that has resonated with me for my whole life from the beginning. It's even more core than teaching. Teaching is a second layer, but critical. The critical. I grew up in a household with an alcoholic and abusive dad, and and I didn't break 5 foot tall until I was in high school. So, like, I was a tiny kid who was also very opinionated. So, uh, imagine that, right? So, man, I got into fights like all the time. And, the fact that I just got beat up a lot never fazed me. You think I'd learn, but yeah, no. And so at a young age, my mom got me into martial arts, and I got my first black belt as a teenager. I got my second black belt as a 48-year-old. But getting into self-discipline and the ability to defend yourself and defend others, I loathe bullies.
Mm.
And there's nothing worse than a thief, in my mind. And because all sin is a sin of theft in some way.
Right.
You shouldn't have any other gods before God. That's theft. You're stealing God's honor, right? Whether it's coveting the neighbor's wife, that's theft. You're taking another man's wife. So you can go back to every sin, and it's theft in some way. It's kind of wild when you think about it. Our house got broken into when I was a little kid, 8, and we came home, and like they had taken their time. Every closet was open. When in my bedroom, all my drawers had been pulled out and dumped on the floor. And it freaked me out. I had PTSD over it, man, for like a long time. Couldn't sleep and stuff, It was a weird experience when somebody comes all in your house, it's freaky. If you've never had it happen, it's freaky. So being protective of others and guarding them against harm, it just resonates with me in a very deep way. And so that's the security business. I love. I really do. I love it.
Yeah.
I love the idea of creating safe environments for people. And
so in speaking of safe environments, so let's go back to 2020. You're down to 6 guards. You feel very safe in this moment.
oh god, yeah, no, not really. But it's right.
Let's just dig into that a little bit more, because
Yeah.
the why makes a lot of sense, and I love that. But let's you're obviously in this moment, and I know you've got a strong mindset. I've always known that about you. You're aggressive in your business, and and you know what you're doing. But in this moment, you have zero control over what's happening.
Yes.
How is it?
As often,
And this is the thing, is like in business as entrepreneurs, there's always stuff that's out of our control.
Well, I was saying,
Harry, it's we're talking about COVID, so like let's dig into that.
I would say, and this is another very valuable point to take away here. The quicker you can come to the understanding that nothing is in your control, the better off you are. Control is an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
We have control of literally one thing, only one thing, and that is our response.
Mm-hmm.
Right? How we choose to respond and react to all the things that we can't control is the only thing we control. And so, is my response honoring to God? That sort of thing.
I'm gonna pause real quick. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Is my response honoring to God? That sort of thing. That my reaction is literally the only thing I can control. So if you start studying and learning to master your response, that's what gives you an edge or an advantage over the world around you. And that's, one of the things martial arts teaches, and why I'm such a huge fan and such a huge proponent of it. Had I not torn my MCL, I'd still be in martial arts to this day. It just got to the point where I was jacking my knee up every 3 weeks. So I'm like, oh, I can't keep doing this. I'm getting old, but the principles are there. In the last style I got my first Dan in, Tang Soo Do, one of their core principles is peaceful confidence. And it's learn to be at peace with everyone around you because of the confidence you have in what you can do. So it's like, if I know that I can cause you really serious harm, I don't have a need to prove anything anymore. Like, what's the point? You're right, I'm wrong. You dress nicely, I've dressed poorly. What's gonna fix your ego so we can chill? Right, that kind of thing. So anyway, I will again into some size. Going back to like
let's go back to the crisis.
Yeah,
and just you're balancing family, you're balancing this, you're balancing income, you're balancing, and then this is also the business you took over from your mom. She just passed in 2018.
2020, 6 guards, and what do you do? So the first part of that why it starts with the why is that when you connect with what you're doing on a deeply passionate level, that is part of what is needed to give you the resiliency to continue to push forward. So at that point, it's I survived. I drove Uber. I did anything I could to make a buck. Random things while keeping my attention on the business, which sounds crazy, but if it was what I was called to do, then I've got to stick with it and be focused on it, right? And so analyzing my weak spots in the security business at that point, all of our business at that time was bars and churches, which I would have never thought could be taken out by one thing. Like, those are pretty seemingly different industries.
Yeah.
Right? But a pandemic shut all of them down. And so I literally had one client, an apartment, that wasn't bar and church. Bars closed, churches closed, none of them need security when they're closed, that kind of thing. So all of our business went away. So it forced me to look at how I can better diversify and understand different markets, vertical markets that I could integrate into, and that understanding my why, giving me the resiliency, gave me the backbone I needed to look at how do we solve the problem going into the future. Being diversified enough in industry that I would be insulated more from that type of situation. It made us a better business. So I have to be, there's another attitude and gratitude, man. Learning to be thankful for everything. It's like, I don't know how scriptural you want to get, but
this is your journey. But if your faith was a part of that,
oh my gosh,
then by all means. I mean, we're talking about, it's your journey.
This is a promise to every believer, so it's not a promise to unbelievers. And so I don't mean it as any kind of slight, I guess, people who aren't on that journey. It's just the way it is.
Right.
God said that to him who loves the Lord, so that's why it's inclusionary, to him who loves the Lord and is called according to his purpose, right? So there's the filters, right? If you're called, if you love God, then it says, this promise, all things, not some, not most, all are working to that person's good.
Mm-hmm.
And that is probably one of the hardest scriptures to wrap your head around as a believer. It's like, hey, my house burned down. I have insurance. I call the insurance company, like, oh, it doesn't cover that kind of fire. Yay. It's a good thing. It's working to my good.
Yep.
How? So there's a lot of things that look like they're not on the surface.
Right.
On the surface, me going from 33 guards to 6 guards looks like a bad thing, right? But God said if you're going to grow this business in a healthy way, in a way that allows you to bless the amount of people I plan for you to bless, through getting a paid above market average, through creating internal means for them to promote and grow in the business, and to work in an environment that glorifies God, that is focused on glorifying God versus a secular environment, whatever else. Even when they're not looking for that. Even when they don't know that that's what they need in life. If you're going to do that, then you need to not be so dependent on just bars and just churches, right? I need you to learn how to diversify and grow into other market areas. And so in order to do that, I've got to get you off this dependency that you have, and start from the ground up. It's like you came in and these were your markets and you just were lazy and rolled with that because it was already working and that was cool.
Wow.
So I'm saying, so I had to crash, I had to burn, in order to.
How did that, we talk a lot about our journeys in business and how we were resilient and things like that, but rarely do we talk about how that affects our family.
Oh gosh.
And how would you say that work-life balance was, and how it affected your family? Is there any moment where you're asking you to quit or do something different, or any scenario? But
It's I'll probably be a little shocking. Well, some people are going to be mad and maybe a little jealous when I say this. That my wife, I don't know, we've been together so long, and I think she knows me so well that she is overconfident in me. It's awesome. Like I'm stressing out, and she's not, and her attitude is, I know you'll figure it out. like, but it's not that easy.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's so funny.
Yeah. So I'm like, it's kind of the opposite. It's not like quit or give up or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you'll figure it out. Like, God, can you at least make it sound like it's hard? Like,
Yeah.
can you worry a little, maybe? So I can feel like I really accomplished something when I did it.
Right.
Yeah. No, but I mean, at the end of the day, I accept that my role is to provide for my family. And whining about it isn't going to solve all the things. So when we had 6 employees, suck up your pride and ego, buttercup, and, go out and drive. And if a friend says, hey, can you do X, Y, and Z because I know you have the skill set, I'll pay you $100. Cool, I'll do that. Whatever. I did whatever it took to make sure that we paid the bills and put food on the table. And that was, some rice and bean nights kind of deal,
Yeah.
Man, I can work some ramen like nobody's business.
There you go.
Throw some slice of ham in there, raw egg to get that broth going. I got like a $2 meal, man.
There you go. Yeah.
Been there, done that, got the t-shirt more than once. So
yeah, that's awesome. And so let me ask you, like, when you came to, let's talk about one of your businesses that you exited, right? When did you know? Because we can even talk a little bit about Improve My Credit USA, because I could see you in that situation teaching, because you're teaching people about how to get their better credit.
Yep.
You're teaching your employees that, on how to service and teach, right?
There was a lot of teaching involved.
Yeah, there's a lot of teaching involved. And so when I guess my question is, when did you kind of know, hey, it's time to exit? And like, how hard was it to wrestle with that decision?
Yeah.
Because in business, we know we're here, and then we have peaks and we have valleys, and sometimes you don't know, like, is this just another valley I got to get through, or is it's time to wrap it up?
Yeah, the passion level again, this always goes back to connecting with the why. But I'd done it. The Improve My Credit USA was another one of those where it's like the pivot out of necessity thing. I had left the IT business because I was going into some real estate investing, but it was it wasn't just real estate investing. It was a whole body that was an ecosystem that all fed each other, and there was a lot of teaching involved and all this stuff. And it was so taking people who couldn't buy a home, credit issues, all this stuff, didn't have financial knowledge, and hand holding them through the process to be able to purchase their first home, while simultaneously having an investor paired with that person. So the investor had a win, the person got their home, they had a win, and then continuing that person on their journey for them to become an investor and do the same thing for somebody else. Beautiful idea, beautiful model, and we got it up and running. And our biggest year, we sold over 100 homes, which anybody in real estate should know that's not a bad accomplishment in a year. That we did pretty darn well. And then 2008. Oh. I'm like, you want to talk about things out of your control,
Yeah.
this huge, massive market collapse in the real estate, community. So it's kind of went through that whole thing again, and it was just like, good grief, when's it going to stop? So you have these experiences on the outside, which, again, this all points back to God and like what's really important in life. We come into this world naked without a penny, and we exit this world, without a penny. Can't take it with you, as they say. There's no U-Hauls showing up in heaven, right? So the point in life is not to be wealthy. That too is an illusion, right? It's all vanity. So
That's a good point. So, how would you say that your entrepreneurial journey has impacted you and others around you in ways that are not monetary?
Yeah, that's a absolutely great question. The biggest thing that I enjoy with my business at present is to be able to have these moments.
Mm-hmm.
I teach at a men's cigar group. We smoke cigars and we talk about things that men struggle with and deal with. And it is 100% biblical, God focused, but it's couched in a way to be open to anybody and applicable to any man. We've had women attend before, but scared to men. And we've had men who were atheistic or agnostic, unbelievers, who attended for a very long time. One of those is now a believer. But anyway, the being an entrepreneur, getting to the point in life to be able to afford those moments and those freedoms, giving me the freedom to teach at will, to write and teach through writing and all that. That's the stuff that it has really excited me in life about being an entrepreneur. But entrepreneurship to me, and you can absolutely do this outside of entrepreneurship for sure. I just feel like it gives you the biggest opportunity to do it. It's scaling. Everybody should be, every believer should be kingdom focused, kingdom minded. Seek first the kingdom of God, right, and His righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. So as long as I'm pursuing God's kingdom, He's like, what do you need? I'll 100% give that to you. And as soon as we start getting irresponsible with that, that God looks to put His resources somewhere else, where they better serve Him. I've often said that God wouldn't curse you with money. So, like, why would I give you material success in life that completely pulls you away from a relationship with me? It would be a curse.
Good point.
Right?
Yeah.
So some people stay in this place of brokenness, poverty, because it is the best thing for them spiritually. So it's not about being wealthy. Nothing about this journey is about being wealthy. God doesn't have a problem with money. We do, so that's part of our journey. So being an entrepreneur has afforded me the opportunity or the freedom to create environments. I know people, heck, I've got people in my cigar group who work environments that are hostile to their faith.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of their struggle. And we talk about how do they deal with, being a Christian and living out their faith in a work environment that's hostile.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Well, I get to create whatever environment I want because it's my business. So that is a huge blessing and a huge responsibility to try to create settings that are conducive to a positive space for their faith and to grow as a person spiritually. And for people who come in who aren't spiritual and who aren't focused on God to be touched by that,
So if you were to give a piece of advice to an entrepreneur that's currently going through a crisis, very difficult time, whether that be personal, business related, what would it be?
Well, without knowing the person's, you got to be general in advice. I always start with why. That's the first thing. You have to understand why you're doing what you're doing, what drives you, what excites you, and without a relationship with God, it becomes very difficult for me to give advice to a person. I just don't know how to see life without that understanding, because all the dots connect when you understand the spiritual. So seeking God first, through that connection, you understand your why, your purpose, what you were called for, what your meaning, because that's where you find excitement. Jesus said, I came that you might have life and have it more abundantly.
Yeah.
Right. It's just more fun. This life is more fun. I enjoy every day. There's days that are hard. There's days that suck, but I have perspective of the bigger things.
Right.
And so by and large, I go through my day with peace, happiness, not happiness, contentment. There's a difference. It's sad to me that most people can't say that. But that's what a relationship with God affords you. And once you start dialing that in, all of my shifts and pivots in life and all that sort of thing has been this constant progression towards being more in line with God and God's will. And so pushing more towards more peace, more contentment, more joy. In fact, it's ironic. It may have been the last thing I posted was about Psalm 16, 11, that says, you will make known to me the path of life. And the Hebrew there, path, same word that Jesus uses contextually when he said, I am the way. The way is the path. Right? So literally Psalm 16:11, he could have said, you will make known to me Jesus. Because he is the example, the path, the way, the course, whatever word you want to use, right? To this thing. And then the next thing was, he said, in your presence is the fullness of joy.
Mm-hmm.
At your right hand are pleasures forever. This is a proximity statement. He says, presence, just being in this building, Jordan somewhere's running around back there, right? I'm in his presence.
Yes.
Right? But I'm at your right hand. So it's a proximity state. It has to do with closeness. So he said, in God's presence, fullness of joy. But at his right hand, pleasures forever. It's an upgrade.
Yeah.
Right? It's all that dialing in that closeness to God. Right? If our focus in life is like just asking, what do you want? What are you really pursuing in life? Are you pursuing money? Why? Okay. What does money afford you? What's the outcome?
Good. I mean, I've got another question related to that, and so, and this is just specifically with not everybody that's watching shares the same faith. Sure, but I share the same faith, so I'm gonna lean in a little bit more.
Okay,
For
let's go.
for our Christian entrepreneurs, or whatever faith you might have that it could possibly pertain to this as well. Did you ever hit a point where you felt like you needed to wait on an answer from God, but simultaneously you felt like I need to act and do something, but you just didn't know what action to take, and you felt like it's like, God, I'm waiting, but I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I mean,
Sergio find himself in that situation. Or you just felt like you needed to act, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Another post that somebody else did that rattled my cage pretty hard was, he said, are you able to pray and then do nothing? And I'm like, I had to think about it. I actually asked him for clarity. I'm like, I think you mean this, right? But it was like, have you the ability to talk to your father about this situation, give it to him, and then don't go meddling with it? It's like, well, I think God hasn't answered yet, so I got to go poke it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got to try to make it happen, that kind of thing. So that's really that I've been dwelling on that for like a minute, right?
Yeah.
Because I am a do-oriented person, right? I just will go. And I talk about this in ministry and everything else. It's like, it is my nature to do and then like get exhausted and then go like ask God for help. And he's like just watching me run around like a chicken with my head caught the whole time. And I'm like, I was worn out. God, it's just not working. I need your help. And God's like, I never wanted you to do that to begin with. Like, did you just jumped in because you saw a need? Like, you're the only person that could do it. Like, what kind of arrogance is that? Like, I had someone else that I totally had planned on to step into that, who's ill-equipped, unprepared, but they have a heart for me and they want to serve, and this is the place I had for them, and you just jumped in and took it from them.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so I had to wait for you to get out of the way so I can put in the minute over there, so yeah, absolutely. I've been in those moments. And all the best advice, because I just told on myself, right?
Right.
All the best advice I can give in that is that when the door of opportunity opens, right, we do seek God. We do ask God about it. We do seek him in prayer. And the best advice I've ever had or been told on this is that Satan can't manufacture peace. Right? So is he giving you a sense of peace about moving forward or not? If you are uneasy in your spirit, and how do you explain that to a person who's not saved, who doesn't have a relationship with God, that doesn't have the Holy Spirit? I can't. I don't know how to explain that, right? If God is giving you a sense of peace, and now I do have a specific example to give a real world scenario here. Had a company reach out to me from Dallas. Do you do business in Dallas? We had done work for them in the past. We're licensed in Texas. We can do business anywhere in Texas. I have done business in Dallas, but I don't have a base of operation like I do in Houston. Can you do business in Dallas? Absolutely. Right? Well, it meant a $2 million contract and hiring 47 people. And actually it was 2.6. So whole numbers there. And company would have profited about $800,000 a year after all bills paid, paying a nice income to all the 47 guards that I would have had to hire in Dallas. We had 30 days. That's the time that I get, how quickly can you be ready to go? I'm like, 30, it's going to take at least 30 days. And that's with us, like 90 to nothing. nonstop every day. We're going to be all on board working. So off we go. We get job postings, all this stuff rolling days into it. And the guy calls me after like 3 or 4 days, and they have some incident that occurred. He's wanting to fire the company they have. They're doing a terrible job. They had a major incident. He calls me and says, please tell me you can do something, quicker.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I will do everything I can within my power, but, bare minimum function, 2 weeks. Okay, you just try. I don't know that we can wait that long. So now we're amping up even more. Spending money, like to get job listings and all that stuff going, right? Interviewing. I got supervisor's time already being invested, all this stuff. And he calls me, actually texted me Sunday morning on my way to church to lead worship. Hey, I'm sorry. The company that is our client, the property management company, got wind of what went on. They're forcing a move. I had to hire another company. And that was, minutes before I walk into lead worship. Ask me how worship went that day.
I bet it was kind of difficult.
It went fantastic.
The way how it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which that sounds crazy.
Right.
But that's the piece I'm talking about that Satan can't manufacture.
When I'm weak.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just a great worship set. It didn't bother me at all. And I'm like, we just lost $800,000. And that sounds crazy. And that's the kind of stuff that God does. God opened the door of opportunity, and he showed me through that, right? A number of areas where we weren't prepared. And I'm like, now talking to all of my management team and everything else, I'm like, we lost the opportunity of $800,000, right? How do we address that in the future? Right? What does that look like?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And maybe we can't ramp up to that, but what if we get a call that's 10 instead of 47?
Mm-hmm.
Right? How do we prepare for that? What do we do? How can we be ready? So God was just saying, look, man, I need you to be ready to expand the kingdom. Opportunities are going to come, right? And you're not prepared yet. So I'm going to give you some ginormous one that was just impossible, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to go through, right? So that now you can have a more realistic idea of what expansion is going to look like and the steps it's going to take. And, it's like, you're not pushing forward enough. Your goals aren't big enough. You just got that carrot out there to see what could be, right? Get you excited, and let's go, Joe.